I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land and...
Shut up!
Prime Minister, thanks for being here. Before the last election, you said power bills would reduce. They didn't. You said you wouldn't alter the tax cuts. You did. You said you wouldn't change super. You're trying. You said we'd have cheaper mortgages. We don't. You said on election night you'd commit to the Uluru Statement in full. You haven't. And you said when you messed up, you would admit fault.
Oh, Andrew, they're all lies spread by Peter Dutton. Now get me an ABC journalist.
Thanks for observing the tradition, Prime Minister, of being here today. You mentioned a lot of times in your...
Thanks, Laura, but you can sit down again. I forgot you had a head that looks like it's been sucked through a tennis racket.
Why can't you win this election by telling the truth?
Because if I actually told the truth that this useless prick just sat around for 3 years, spanking off to Wayne Swan and Paul Keating photos, you'd never vote for me. But if I told you what the shifty snake was really up to, like wanting to tax your super and all the profits you make when you sell your house, well, you wouldn't believe me, would you? And you wouldn't believe me if I told you that this useless dribbling poofter snuck in a few thousand goat roosters through the back door just so they could help him get elected. And what about this bowl-headed, scissoring carpet muncher who kicked off the biggest anti-Semitic hatred campaign Australia's ever seen? But the worst one of all is this hideous, horse-headed, mean and nasty Minister for Finance who bangs on about violence against women, but in secret bullies the crap out of them. But I'll tell you something that is true. That head would be enough to scare Jeffrey Dahmer out of his grave. And Andrew, you certainly wouldn't believe what my proud little coastie said to me the other night just before we were going to bed. She said, "Look, love, I know it's difficult for you to get your 2-inch little bishop to raise its hat, but don't worry, because I asked Benny to borrow a big black strap-on with the Chinese balls." So you can see, Andrew, if I did actually tell the truth at how inept and useless all these taxpayer-funded pricks were, well, I'd probably have to go back to living in a housing commission.
All right.
Peter Dutton!